Okay, this guy next to me has a, I don't even know what it is, but like, he has a rotary from an RX swapped in it, and he said it sounds like an F1 car when he goes under bridges and stuff. I want to hear him drive off. That's cool. That sounds amazing. Oh, that's so cool. So what we've got is our new Annex suspension. This is gonna really improve our ride. Gonna do just the fronts, and then we're gonna see how it feels. I'm just joking. This is a Lego suspension, and we're not gonna do just the fronts, that'd be stupid. So, let's open the box. Oh yeah. All right, so these are the Fastroad Pros. They have a different spring on it than they normally provide. They have like the regular spring, and then I don't remember what the other option is, but based on the survey that I did, they recommended a different type of spring for the driving condition that I wanted. I wanted this to be really OEM plus, basically turn the car into a ride that it doesn't feel like the OEM shocks were skimped on at all. I want it to feel very premium, but OEM plus, very stable, very enjoyable to drive, more for everyday street driving, but I wanted to upgrade the ride quality and feel. So these are the Fastroad Pros. They look absolutely beautiful. Yeah, these are, the quality on these are just, I mean, it looks phenomenal. I haven't driven on them, obviously, but yeah, check this out. I mean, so good. Very excited to put these on and see how they feel. Okay, so what's in here? Oh yeah, little sticker there. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Oh yeah. What else? Oh, okay, so we got these, the damper adjustment end caps, and cool lanyard. Sweet. All right. So, wow, check that out. They put in all the custom information for you. The Hypercoast springs. And they've got even information here about how to fix understeers, oversteers, nervous or skips, feels sloppy. Very cool. So the whole purchase process was pretty easy. First, what they do, I think this is optional, but I would highly recommend doing it. It doesn't cost any extra, and yeah, you'll just get a better product or something closer to what you really want. You go through a consultation. They have you fill out a survey. It's a few pages, and you answer different questions on how you want your ride to feel, what you're going for, what your setup is currently, or what you want to do in the future. And they take all that into account and tune the springs and select springs based on what you want to do. And then the dampers are obviously adjustable, and so you can tune it further that way yourself. So the consultation really helps. And in fact, whenever I did mine, they have two different spring options, one that they have in-house, and then one I don't remember what they are, but they actually decided a Hyperco spring, which they don't normally sell. It's not listed on their website, but they said that a Hyperco spring of a specific spec would be best for what I wanted. And so they actually just did the same price for whatever that spring upgrade was that's on their website. They just applied that to the Hyperco springs. So that was really great. They were able to get all the information I wanted. We had several emails back and forth to kind of nail down exactly what I was looking for. I think that really indicates that they want to give you as good a product as possible, which is fantastic, and I appreciate the extra effort that goes into doing that. The delivery time was pretty much spot on to what they quoted. I think it was about 5 weeks. So everything is assembled, tested, and validated, and they make sure everything's within spec before they send out your individual components. The installation was pretty easy. It took a while. It was my first time. It took me about probably all afternoon. One day I went out there probably around breakfast, and I came back in around 4, or a little after breakfast, came back in around 4 p.m. So for a first timer, I'd say that's pretty good time. I was learning a lot as I went, and I had the factory maintenance manual for the 86 out on my iPad, so I made sure everything was torqued to spec and everything was reassembled properly. So there was some extra time just finding all the torque specs and making sure everything was done correctly, since I'd never done it before. The ride height adjustment I did after having on the suspension about 2 months, and I waited that long just to make sure everything settled properly and that nothing was going to move more after I adjusted the ride height. It was pretty easy. You just had to remove the connection on the bottom to the swing arm on the rear suspension, and then remove the nuts on the knuckle, the brake line, and I believe it's a sensor line from the suspension, and then you just turn it and then relock that ring to adjust your ride height. When I first installed the suspension, I basically just matched it to the OEM, knowing that it wasn't going to be exactly what I needed, but then I matched the from side to side. I measured the distance between the pre-compression, the thing that holds the spring, the ring that holds the top spring, and the ring that holds the mounting hardware to the knuckle. I measured the distance between those with a digital caliper, and I made sure they matched on both sides, just to make sure there wasn't anything wonky going on between sides. And then, like I said, I just matched the suspension, the top link and the bottom link, or the top platform and the bottom link. I just matched that to the OEM as closely as I could, just to get the suspension close to what I wanted for the settle time. After a couple months, like I said, I readjusted the ride height to really close to OEM. I maybe dropped it about 10 centimeters, 10 millimeters. So it's very close to OEM. I haven't had any issues scraping on anything or nothing that I wouldn't in a regular height car. So haven't had any issues with that either. The performance of the suspension has been fantastic. The NVH bushings that they advertise, that they put on the top of the springs between the mounting hardware and the springs, performs excellent. I did notice that there was some high frequency vibration that I didn't get with the Annex suspension that I did with the OEM suspension. So it really smooths out some of the more annoying vibration that you get with the OEM that's just hard mounted. It cuts out some of the noise, vibration, and harshness. So that was really great. I was still able to get really good feedback from the wheels. I didn't feel like I lost any information. I drifted around a couple corners just at lower speeds, just in a low gear, hit the gas, and I was able to control everything really well. It still felt perfect. I didn't have any complaints as far as losing any kind of communication with the ground. So yeah, very happy with that. The NVH bushings made more of a difference than I expected, which was awesome. And the adjustable dampers, there's 24 settings from max to minimum, and it actually does make a really big difference. Just a few clicks, you can tell a difference. So that it really is a very large adjustability range. I think 24 might be a little more granular than what most people are really gonna realistically need. 12 clicks would probably be fine with just larger increments, but I'm not going to complain about more granularity. It really lets you get it exactly where you want. The only problem that I had as far as the the dampers in the rear have a lot of valve noise. I mean, it is not insignificant. I don't know if this is just my set or if it's totally normal. I've never installed coilovers on a car before, so I had a video where I recorded the sound. I can't find it. I'll try to record another one before I publish this video. Yeah, you could definitely hear the noise, probably in the phone microphone. Ah! Now, did you hear it there? 10 minutes 40. But it also sounds like something's rattling too. It doesn't just sound like valve noise. Like, it sounds like there's something like clinking together that shouldn't. It's the front, rear. See, I just feel like that's louder than it should be. Doesn't sound right. That way you can hear it, but it is very apparent from the driver's seat. Whenever you go over a bump, you just hear that. Maybe that's not exactly right, but you can really hear the fluid flowing through the valves in the rear dampers. The front, not so much, which I thought was kind of weird. The fronts are very quiet. The rear ones are quite loud. There was also a little bit of rattle that I thought I heard. And so I took the wheels off again and I rechecked all the torques on the nuts, just a nut and bolt check on everything that was touched. Everything was tightened up properly. There wasn't anything loose. So I'm not really sure what was making that noise. And then sometimes it comes and goes. It's really weird, and it's not what I would expect from like a rattling sound. So that's very strange as well. But yeah, the fronts are really quiet. The rears, for some reason, are quite noisy. Not sure why. And I'm not sure if it's just my set or if it's just the way they're constructed in general. And there is a difference between when you put it on very stiff and very, not loose, but very soft. It changes the profile of that sound. And so when it's more stiff, you don't get nearly as much sound. And when it's really soft, you really hear those valves going up and down. So yeah, a bit strange. Not sure if that's normal. If you have Annex or any other suspension where that's a normal thing, let me know down in the comments, because I'm really curious what other people's experience is. I am a little unhappy about that, because the Fastroads are advertised as being just a more drop-in, less aggressive OEM replacement type of suspension, and that I think there was a video where they were talking about the Fastroad Pros, and one of the employees said that this was meant to be a set of suspension that gives you a higher quality, better feel, but you don't have to apologize to your passengers about how noisy or rough it is. Which it isn't rougher than I was expecting. It's exactly what I wanted, but it is pretty noisy. Like the dampers themselves make quite a bit of noise. I can even hear it over music. So, um, I just I don't know. It just seems weird. Not something I expected. Another issue I ran into in during the install for the fronts was the two bolts that hold the knuckle to the lower suspension bracket, I guess you'd call it. But I think I talked a bit about it while I was installing it. I recorded a little bit of footage of just explaining that in more detail. And since I did this a few months ago, I'm going to just cut to that video so I can explain it in the past. So I went back. I did not have a video of me talking about it while I installed it. I thought I did, but I was talking about a separate issue. So the problem was that the bolts that hold the lower suspension, I guess this knuckle bracket, with the two large bolts. I don't remember what the OEM configuration was, but the way that the holes were cut out on the Annex suspension components, you could only put in the bolts from one direction on one side and the opposite direction on the other side. So I think they may have had a template and didn't take into account that they had to mirror it for the other side to make sure that both bolts go in the same direction on both sides. So instead, on one side, you have the bolts going in one way and the nut attaching from the rear. And then on the other side, you have the bolts going in the other way and the nuts attaching from the front. Found that to be a bit strange. Mechanically, theoretically, I don't think it should make a difference. I couldn't think of an issue that would cause. But again, this is my first time. So all I did was I torqued it to spec and made sure that it was secure according to the factory maintenance manual. So yeah, another thing that's a bit weird, but shouldn't theoretically cause any problems, but still a bit strange. I do think that it should have been addressed in the user manual if they knew that was going to be a difference from the OEM configuration, just to at least put your customer's mind at ease, saying like, hey, this is going to be different. It's fine. But I looked through the user manual and I didn't see anything like that, so a bit strange. Also, there was an issue where the knuckle was able to shift in the camber direction, for lack of a better way to explain it. When you put in the bolt on the bottom bolt on the knuckle and then the top bolt on the knuckle, the top bolt could slide back and forth in that lower suspension mount bracket. That was kind of weird. So I just set it to the more negative camber suspension. So that way when I hit bumps, it wouldn't try to push that knuckle into the car. So it was already resting as far in as it could. And that way going over bumps theoretically shouldn't shift it. But again, if that's also something that's expected, put it in the user manual, because I looked through the user manual for that and I didn't see anything for that either. So that was another thing that I was kind of puzzled about and I couldn't find an answer for. So yeah, I did email them and I did call them. I think I called them on a Sunday, so I didn't expect them to pick up, but I never got a call back. It's been a few months now. So maybe I just need to call on a weekday to try to get a hold of someone. But yeah, I never got a call back, which is a bit frustrating because I had some concerns about putting those bolts in the other way. So yeah, all in all, I'm pretty happy with the suspension now. It's really adjustable and it's got the exact feel that I was going for. So I think doing the consultation really helps, and it's definitely something I would recommend everyone do, because I think you'll just get a better product that's designed more for you and closer to what you're wanting. The Fastroad Pros are really cool. Aside from the issue of the damper noise, which I'm not sure if that's normal or not, and the not being able to reinstall the bolts on one of the sides in the same orientation as the OEM, that's a bit weird. And I don't like the fact that whenever you put the bolts on, the camber can still change a few degrees. I think that's kind of weird. I'd rather the bolt hole not be an oval shaped and just make it a circle, and use the camber plates on top to adjust camber. I don't know if there's a good reason that they make the bolt holes that shape. Like I said, it looked intentional, so I assumed that there's a purpose, but I looked through the user manual and I wasn't able to find any sort of reference to why they're shaped that way. Also, some of the nuts on the front suspension are single use, so if you do it properly, you should buy a new, it's not a castle nut, but it's a flange nut that attaches the knuckle to the lower suspension bracket, and the nuts on the camber plates. Technically, those are all single use. Once you remove them, you should use new hardware. So I ordered some parts to do that, and now I have new hardware on there. But it is something to keep in mind when you're doing this. According to the factory manual, you should use new nuts. So just something to keep in mind. So I hope that's helpful if you are trying to evaluate some suspension that you want to get, or you already have it and you're looking for input from someone else about their experience. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Be kind to someone, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.